Okay, so now we're gonna move into the other genres that I have, and the next book that I have to talk about is a YA book, and it's the only YA book that I read this year, and it is All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. And this book I did not expect it to be like as good as it was. I gave this book 5 stars. It follows 2 childhood friends who come from the same background, and kind of just how tragedy strikes both of their families and the choices that they make because of those tragedies, and just kind of how their friendship is changed because of the choices that they make. And it was just beautiful. I was like, this is young adult, because I'm over here crying. I have not read a YA book that has impacted me this way, but I gave this 5 stars. It's definitely a book that I want to read again, but I'm afraid to, because it was a lot of emotions. But Sabaa Tahir is such an amazing writer, and if she were to write a grocery list, I'd probably read it and be like 5 stars, because that's okay. So now we're gonna just stay in romance, and I read a lot of romance this year. It was the summer of romance that just was like the rest of the year is romance, and I'm not mad about it, but I'm glad that I got to read other things before I got sucked into like romance, because romance is addicting. But I'm not proud of myself, but I got sucked into the ACOTAR series, and I was hooked. The first book, I was like, no, I don't like this dude. I don't like this storyline here. I don't think I'm gonna continue with this series. But one of my friends told me to read the second book, and I did, and it made it to my top 10, because Rice and is there another romance hero? I just can't. But I'm not gonna even get into this, because low-key I'm like ashamed of myself, because I'm such a cliche, you know, and this is my romance books I have to talk about. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, because they are romance novels that you have definitely heard about. Even if you don't read romance, you know who they are. So I have Christina first, Love in Other Words, and Paradise Problem. These were both 5-star reads. I'm going to read these every year, because it was just beautiful. Like, Love in Other Words has like that childhood romance, and the Paradise Problem has just like the most unconventional fake dating storyline trope. Like, I eat this up. Like, Christina definitely became a favorite author of mine this year, and I know that she is blowing up on the internet, or has been, and I'm late to the story or the game, but 5 stars. I would definitely read these. So the last book on my list is, of course, Funny Story by Emily Henry. And I do not know, I'm not going to say much on this, because I know that this book is probably on so many other people's like top 10. I just don't know how Emily Henry does it. Like, how does she keep coming up with these unique storylines when her characters, for me, I'm like, they kind of seem like similar, but this story was, at least the male character was so different from the typical male characters in contemporary romance, because Miles is not a millionaire. Miles doesn't have a great job. Miles is not like the conventionally handsome, you know, hero that we love to see in contemporary romance. He was a little bit like, you know, he was just a guy still figuring it out, and he probably would not be attractive to women in the real world, because, you know, you're in your late 30s and you still don't got your stuff together. But I fell in love with Miles, and I know a lot of other girls did, because he is the guy that is like, he's there. Like, if he's the definition of, if he wanted to, he would. Like, it's just, I was just blown away by the uniqueness of this story. And even though, like I said, I wasn't gonna talk about it, but you know, Miles and Daphne, they just got broken up by their partners, and their partners ended up dating each other because they were childhood best friends. So it's just kind of like, that's such a unique storyline, and it really is a funny story. And I'm nervous for Emily Henry, in a sense. I'm like, how are you gonna top like this, you know? But I'm also excited to keep reading this writer, and you know, these are the writers that they deserve the hype. Like, their hype is valid, and I definitely read more Emily Henry this year, but this was the book that I was just like, chef's kiss. Beautiful love story.